Outstanding communication skills are valuable to any employee, at any organizational level. They are even more important when dealing across cultures. Subtle differences in how people communicate, both verbally and non-verbally, can make the difference between a deal going through and an agreement falling apart.
Trees also protect the environment against soil erosion, siltation, and flooding. Soil erosion causes us to lose valuable agricultural soil. Siltation is when soil ends up in our rivers and dams. This has an impact on flow rate of the river, making it easier to flood as well as reduce the capacity of the dams. Therefore, planting trees reduces the flow and so the threat of flooding.
The maternal bond is typically the relationship between a mother and her child. While it typically occurs due to pregnancy and childbirth, it may also occur between a woman and an unrelated child, such as an adoption. There are hundreds of potential factors, both physical and emotional, which can influence the mother-child bonding process.
Usually, body language occurs unconsciously. Yet the body language we use decides to a large extent the quality of our communication. It follows that, therefore, it would be good to become conscious of our own and others' body language. We can learn to use our body language for a purpose, as well as learn to understand and interpret body language of others.
In courtroom settings, lawyers have been known to utilize different nonverbal signals to attempt to sway juror opinions. An attorney might glance at his watch to suggest that the opposing lawyer's argument is tedious, or might even roll his eyes at the testimony offered by a witness in an attempt to undermine his or her credibility.
Our choice of color, clothing, hairstyles, and other factors affecting appearance are also considered a means of communication. Research on color psychology has demonstrated that different colors can evoke different moods. Appearance can also alter physiological reactions, judgments, and interpretations. Just think of all the subtle judgments you quickly make about someone based on his or her appearance.
Global demand for energy is increasing rapidly because of population and economic growth, especially in emerging market economies. While accompanied by greater prosperity, rising demand creates new challenges. Energy security concerns can emerge as more consumers require ever more energy resources. And higher consumption of fossil fuels leads to higher greenhouse gas emissions, particularly carbon dioxide.
There are two hypotheses about the emergence of water. One is that it arrives on planets when asteroids containing water collide with the planet. The other hypothesis is that water emerges in connection with the formation of the planet. On Mars, several studies suggest that the presence of water is a byproduct of the planet formation process. A substantial portion of our communication is nonverbal. Experts have found that every day we respond to thousands of nonverbal cues and behaviors, including postures, facial expressions, eye gaze, gestures, and tone of voice. From our handshakes to our hairstyles, nonverbal details reveal who we are and how we relate to other people. Facial expressions are responsible for nonverbal communication.
In many situations, disagreements are inevitable. They are part of life. After all, everyone has different opinions. We all have past experiences that shape how we see the world. Still, not all disagreements are bad. In fact, many people look at them as opportunities to learn. They do so by trying to understand where both sides are coming from.
Cleaning airliners is a crucial part of air travel. It's important for the health of passengers to remove litter and clean dirty surfaces that might harbor germs that could make people sick. It's a job that has to be accomplished in a matter of minutes, given the quick turnaround times that airlines have to meet.
The ocean is a massive body of saltwater that covers roughly 70% of the Earth's total surface. It has played a vital role throughout history, supplying humans with food and acting as an avenue for transport to develop commerce and trade. Depending on one's outlook, it can be awe-inspiring for its natural beauty, or terrifying in its vastness.
The demand for low-wage workers has strongly influenced U.S. immigration policy for generations. That trend continues today, especially when it comes to labor migration from Latin American countries. But no matter how much workers are needed economically, they face almost certain discrimination based on race, ethnicity, and language.
The nature of migration selection appears to have changed over time, whereas, in the past, migrant selection patterns were mixed, with some migrants positively and others negatively selected from their home countries on the basis of skill. Migrants today are primarily positively selected from source country populations, at least on observable characteristics.
Many species have become extinct because of hunting and overharvesting, the conversion of wetlands and forests to croplands and urban areas, pollution, the introduction of invasive species, and other forms of human-caused destruction of their natural environments. Indeed, current rates of human-induced extinctions are estimated to be about 1,000 times greater than past natural rates of extinction.
hurricanes are heat engines, just like engines in cars. In car engines, fuel is combusted, and that heat energy is converted into mechanical work. For hurricanes, the moisture taken up from the surface of the ocean is the fuel that intensifies and sustains a hurricane's destructive power, with heat energy from the moisture converted into powerful winds.
Like all the other planets in our solar system, Earth is a round, solid figure called a sphere. It is then divided up into 4 different hemispheres: eastern, western, northern, and southern. The word hemisphere actually means half sphere, so it describes the halves perfectly. Every location in the world exists in 2 hemispheres at once.
Coral reefs are hotspots of biodiversity. As they can withstand heavy storms, they offer many species a safe home, and at the same time, they protect densely populated coastal regions as they level out storm-driven waves. However, scientists are trying to figure out how these reefs that are made up of often very fragile coral are so stable.
A pioneering technique which captures precisely how mountains bend to the will of raindrops has helped to solve a long-standing scientific enigma. The dramatic effect rainfall has on the evolution of mountainous landscapes is widely debated among geologists, but a new research clearly calculates its impact, furthering our understanding of how peaks and valleys have developed over millions of years.
Humans have farmed the land for thousands of years. As we evolved, cultivating our crops and tending our fields, we also transformed our environment, landscapes, and even weather. Technology and agrochemicals have forever changed how we plant and grow produce. Now, as organic farming is taking hold and climate change is pushing agriculture into the unknown realms, farmers face new frontiers. International agreements mandate the expansion of Earth's protected area network as a bulwark against the continued extinction of wild populations, species, and ecosystems. Yet many protected areas are underfunded, poorly managed, and ecologically damaged. The conundrum is how to increase their coverage and effectiveness simultaneously.
In recent years, several business trends have had a significant impact on the broad field of human resource management. Chief among them was new technologies. These new technologies, particularly in the areas of electronic communication and information dissemination and retrieval, have dramatically altered the business landscape.
Without the zero, arithmetic calculations would be much harder, there would be no computers, and we would not be able to do various complicated equations. Zero is not only a number, but it can also be used as a placeholder. Earlier the symbol for zero was a large dot, very different from the symbol that we use today. Tigers, the largest of the big cats, do not live in one country alone. Though there are a number of large cats and predators to be found throughout various continents, tigers are not one of them. Wild tigers are found only in one continent across 13 tiger range countries. The natural habitat of tigers in the wild is widespread.
Research shows that building collisions take a staggering annual toll on North America's bird population. The researchers found that most collisions happened in daylight. Glass reflects the neighboring vegetation, presumably making birds think they are simply flying to another tree or bush. Glass buildings next to parks are therefore particularly dangerous for birds.